Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm Colynn Hlokoff.
And I'm Meridee Hlokoff.
And welcome to Spiritual Sisters with Sass, the podcast where two sisters with a passion for spirituality and a touch of sass come together to explore the exciting world of self-improvement.
That's right, Colynn. We embarked on this incredible journey together, diving into different self-improvement techniques, yoga practices, and a whole array of life experiences.
Yeah, and through it all, we've managed to create lives that are abundant, happy, and constantly evolving. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it, Meridee?
You bet, sis. We've got two very different perspectives on life, but that's what makes this podcast so special. I'm all about diving in head first into life's adventures and embracing every challenge with a bit of sass. While Colynn here, she's got her own unique approach.
Yep, that's me. And I'm all about the yoga, mindfulness, and finding my zen. And together we make the perfect balance.
So whether you're looking for some wisdom, a few laughs, or just some heartfelt stories, you're in the right place. We're here to share our personal experiences and insights with you, all while exploring the wild and diverse world of self-improvement.
So grab your headphones and get ready for a fantastic journey with us. Spiritual Sisters with Sass is here to uplift, inspire, and keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in, lovely listeners. Let's dive in.
Spirit and sass. Here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Spiritual Sisters with Sass. Last week, we had a podcast that we called Alignment. What did we call it? Alignment through navigation, alignment as navigation. That's what it was. And today we're continuing that by giving you guys some practical tools on how to get into alignment. And then I'm going to share with you, and I think Lynn will as well, how your life can shift when you're in alignment. So Lynn, I want you to get started because you're going to share with us kind of the physicality of it and the body side of it so that we can figure out what's in alignment and what's not.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Mare. So last week we were talking a little bit about the language of the body, right? The language, your body doesn't speak English. So why you think it would, isn't that funny? Isn't that just the ego? Right? Your body doesn't speak English because your mouth does. So how do you know how to communicate with your body? Well, that's, I think, like 100% the reason cause of anxiety is you're out of alignment, right? Your higher self is somewhere you misidentify as your ego self. And so your body is telling you, dude, no, constantly communicating with you, but because it's not English, then we think of it as bad. And then we go take pills to repress it. What happens when we repress the body? It goes into depression. When it's in depression, then we're in dis-ease. We're out of ease, right? Only do that for a while before the cells start to not function appropriately. And then we are where many people are now, autoimmune, injuries, illness, like so many things.
Popping pills to help us make us feel better instead of
taking us further away from our body. Right?
Yeah.
Numbing our body so we don't hear anymore. So the body actually has to speak up louder. We already know, like, the universe communicates in stages, right? A nice little gentle whisper in your ear. Don't listen.
We don't usually listen to that one.
The face. You don't listen, you get hit by a dump truck.
Yep.
Right? Like, so you choose, how do you want it? And so that the way your body is now is dependent on how you're communicating with it. So the body speaks in feelings and sensations.
Yeah.
Right. And when you are in touch with your body, then that's how you can start to listen. So within yoga, we've talked about the koshas. One of the koshas are your layers of your body. And these are 10,000-year-old scientists coming up with science. So it can sound like woohoo to us, yet that's my gift, is that it's not. And I can bring it back to our English now so that people can understand it. So one of the The body's is the wisdom body. And within our physical body, that's actually our fascial system, right? The fascia that you can actually feel it. Like if you pinch your arm and then you move up the skin until you can't move anymore, that's the binding layer. That's your superficial fascia. It's innervated. So 6 times more neurons move to and through it than anywhere else in your body other than your skin. Why? Because, and it envelopes everything. Like there's no beginning, no end. It's throughout the entire body. And then it's also around each muscle. It's around each organ. It's around each cell, so that all the body's in compartments. And
without it, you have mush.
Right. If I ask you right now, okay, how do you feel about like douchey Mexico guy? How does it, and you're like, you're, and you're in your body's like, ugh.
Yeah, literally. Like it just feels like
Right.
tense, icky, like, ugh.
And if I say, Meridee, how do you feel about Jamie right now?
Special.
Right?
I
Things
smile
happen.
and feel peaceful and blissful, and oxytocin is releasing in my brain.
And my vagina is doing things too.
I mean, there's that part too.
Your body is literally telling you right now what direction to move in. It's wise. It knows. And if you just get the fuck out of your head and start listening to your body, because what does your head say? You're a fucking idiot. You're stupid. You're not deserving. We like douchebags. Right? Do more. Be more. You're not enough. That's what your
or you're too fucking much. Chill the fuck out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's so funny that we listen to that.
Oh God, we listen to that one like it screams at you. And yet if you think you're okay, or that you're awesome, or that you're obsessed with yourself, then you're just conceited and awful. And we need to normalize loving yourself.
Right. So we have that option. Like you literally are living in a navigation that tells you if you're in alignment or out of alignment. You just need to learn how to speak the language. And to be honest, you do know the language of love. It's pretty clear. It's quite obvious. I see this as a coach. Part of the training is listening to what people are saying, so I can know what's happening subconsciously, because people will say something and say, well, I didn't mean it that way. It's like, but that's what you said. And now you're explaining it. No, you meant it that way. And now you're backtracking. Now your intellect is like, oops. Right?
Oops, I exposed myself and now I have to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Stop. Death.
Yes.
Yet in the opposite, like our bodies are constantly telling us like what's yes, what's no. The issue is that like we feel anxiety or fear, and then we think it's all bad. So if I feel this is in yin yoga, we talk about learning the difference between discomfort and pain, because pain tells you you've gone too far, right? You're going to injure, stop. And discomfort is like, great, you've hit the perfect spot.
I need it. Yes.
Because if you go into a yin class and you don't stretch, you're not going to increase your flexibility. You need to be uncomfortable in order to increase your flexibility, which, if we look at what that's doing in your physical body, compression and tension is what builds more cells in the body. So your tendons and your ligaments, which is what we're working on, they have no blood flow. That's why when you injure something, it'll be a tendon, a ligament, not a muscle. If you cut a muscle, it'll be good to go in 6 weeks, probably even better. But where do you injure? You injure in the joint, in the attachment or insertion points, right? Because they're plasticky. They're kind of like they'll rip and tear. They kind of credit card, and then they don't heal because there's no blood flow. So how do we heal or prevent injury is that we use tension and compression to build up those tissues. So not only is that discomfort bringing up shit in your body because you store your emotions in the fascial system, it's also helping you strengthen your body so you have less injury. It's making you more resilient. We can
all
see
of it
in physical, but we don't see it in the mental. Like, duh.
Not just that, but what you were saying for me brings up like immediately when we get into discomfort in yoga or in any of the things, the first thing we want to do is pull back from that. Guess what we do emotionally? The minute we're uncomfortable, For me, Eckhart Tolle wrote a book, and in it he says, if you have anxiety, it's because you're focused on the future. And if you have guilt, it's because you're focused on the past.
Right.
So focus on today and you won't have either. And for me, that piece right there, if I step into something and it's uncomfortable, about 95% of the time, the first thing I hear is, oh my God, no, which my reaction to is, okay, yes. So if I feel resistance, so if somebody says to me, hey, would you like to try this course? Now, there's a difference in that, though. Like listening to my body, there's a difference. When I signed up with my coach, for example, there was pain in my body. I was having resistance to it.
Mhm.
But I learned by working with my body what's a yes pain or a yes discomfort versus a real no discomfort. So you do have to sit in that and find that. And the only way you find that is by experiencing that, which means
By
sitting in that discomfort
communicating, by
and sitting in the
listening.
discomfort. And then you know what? If I experience something that ends up being a bad thing, I say in parentheses, because what is bad? I needed to experience asshole Mexico guy in order to truly appreciate what I have in front of me right now. If I hadn't, I may not have been where I am. So yeah, people are like, I tell my friends the story and they're like, that's so unlike you. Like, what the hell? And I'm like, you guys don't understand though. I needed to do it to be where I am right now. So yeah, it wasn't a great experience. I'm not going to say it was a bad experience. It was an experience that led me somewhere I needed to be. There was discomfort in it. It was incredibly uncomfortable. It was incredibly unlike me, if you want to put it that way, which led me to something that is so incredible for me, that discomfort. And now let's talk about that, because what I'm in right now and this incredible thing that I'm exploring also has a level of discomfort, because it has this, what if this person doesn't choose me? Like right now, yes, but like what if in the long term this person doesn't choose me and I'm falling in love with them? And so there's all of the things we do, there's this discomfort anyways. However, the immediate reaction within my body, that versus this, really truly shows me, because people say his name, or I even just think about him because he's on my brain 24/7. And I can't help, my face is automatically starting to smile right now just because I'm talking about him. My body is reacting in this like way that this is how I know, because of listening to my body. Now, that being said, I've been doing this for a long time and I still don't always listen properly.
Mhm.
Or maybe I do and I need to have the experience, but I'm listening. And there's times where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the thing. And then it's not the thing,
Right.
but I needed the experience regardless, which is why this was the thing.
Right. That's so, as a coach, if we learn to watch people, we know the answer before they do, which is so amazing. Because
hard.
I'll work with someone and they'll be like, I'm having difficulty, like blah, 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 blah. And it's like so clear. They're talking about this one thing and they're like this and blah, blah, blah. And then they're talking about this other thing. And, like you can see the discomfort and it's clear the answer. But if I tell someone, it's just another person telling them. So, friends will tell you what you want to hear quite often.
Not mine.
I know. Or having you as a friend either. But in general, what happens? We want to like do a thing and our friends will be like, yeah, you should. Even
support you
though,
in your decisions.
yeah, right. So I think that like learning the language of your body is so important, because right now, I was sharing this with you. I have very slowly over time stopped working for other people. And right now there's just one last place that I'm working for. And I love them. Like they've been my family here. I've been going there for 5 years. I've done teacher trainings. I teach retreats. Like I've done so much with this retreat center. And I feel like a loyalty. So I keep going. And this last round, I mean, I went in over New Year's and it was great. And there was a lot of people came to the retreat, and
Oh, there you are.
Within that, like everybody was kind of off doing their own thing. So it was very disjointed for me. Like as a retreat leader, we as a group move through a journey, not have a bunch of people just randomly off doing things. Like that's not growth. Why are you even here? It's not a retreat, you're on vacation. And to me, that's very different. People on retreat come to learn. And there was still like a core group of like 5, 6 people that came and did the work. And that's my judgment too. Like those people weren't doing work or whatever, but like still it didn't feel good. And the promotion of things has not necessarily felt good for me because I stand for like inclusive space and bigger bodies and older bodies and queer people. And that's not necessarily been a focus, right? A lot of pictures are of thin white women doing almost impossible postures with Costa Rica in the background, which we've talked about, they're aware of, and it gets some more attention. That's it. Like the queer folk, it doesn't get them attention. The skinny white lady doing that fucking crazy pose, that gets all the algorithm even. They're like, it's the algorithm. I'm like, maybe a little bit, but also, so I feel like more and more out of alignment. And now I went again and there was 3 people. Now it was, all of it's perfect too. It's not like I went and I hated it. I got like my own little vacation. Things have changed. There's new staff. So now this family thing is becoming less and less a part of like my loyalty. This time the food wasn't good. And it's always been like the food has been such an important part, but we like, it wasn't. I didn't feel it. So now I've got, several more retreats and I love them. And the retreats are fucking bomb. Like we're doing a queer retreat in September. Like that's awesome. That'll be the first one there ever. So the fact that they're even open to doing that tells me that, they're still fucking awesome. Yet in my body, I'm like, ugh. And then I go and the experience isn't what it has been. Sometimes I feel like I'm walking around on eggshells, and then I'm not making a lot of money to go and do it. So it's kind of like the breadcrumbs, sure, 3 people, this, that, and that, but it was still fucking awesome. Like we still went deep. The people that were there were like such perfect people to be there. Yet on the other end of things, it wasn't a great experience. If I listen to my body, it's clear, right? I looked and I have 3 more retreats in the next 4 months, right? September, October, November, December. So I have 1 in September, 1 in November, 1 in December. And I'm super stoked to do them. And I'm kind of, my body's like, ugh. Like if I go and it's a few people, it's like I could just stay home because I get a lot done when I'm at home and I get to control what I eat when I'm at home and I'm not obligated to run yoga classes, which are also becoming not fun for me. So there's my clear direction. Yet here I am like, oh, but I need money and oh, but I gotta run retreats and oh, but I gotta.
And my coach has so much in his stuff around alignment that if you're not in alignment, you're going to keep attracting things that aren't in alignment with you. Mm-hmm. So the more we do it, now that being said, when we're committed to something, there's also that like level of we need to stay committed to what we said we'd be committed to. So in that, like I feel all of that. Like I've committed and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do because that's who I am and how I work. It's not always how I've been. I haven't always been in alignment. I also haven't always been as disciplined. Discipline is something you have to build as well. And so with coming into alignment, what does that look like for you with these retreats? What does that look like for you within your business? What does that look like for you within your life? For me, when I look at that, I will use the excuse or use the story that I smoked a lot of pot because I was in pain. And I'm not going to say it wasn't also true because there definitely was, like marijuana really helped me with my chronic pain. It reduced my migraines significantly. Like it did a lot of things. That being said, I didn't need to smoke it the way I smoked it, which kept me out of alignment with my business. So there was always that one piece in my business that wasn't in alignment, which was going to keep my income low. It was going to keep attracting people who were going to do similar things to what I was fucking doing, meaning I'm going to get people who want to quit smoking, and maybe they quit smoking for a short period of time, but then guess where they go back to? Whether that is smoking cigarettes or then switching to smoking marijuana chronically, like they did cigarettes. I'll tell you now, I probably smoked more marijuana than I ever did cigarettes. So in last year when I came to see you, you were training for your marathon, and I was like super inspired by it. And I was like, I want to train for something. And we talked about fitness and how that was not where I wanted to go at all. And then we talked about like, what else could I do? And one of the other things I said I wanted to do is I want to learn how to roller skate, especially the way that they do now. Like I'm so in love with it. It's still on my bucket list, but where am I going to learn how to roller skate like that? Like we don't have a place. So it kind of needs to be pushed to the side. It's going to be more of like a for fun passion project when I can and when it's feasible. So what else can I do? So then I was like, you know what? One day I was in chronic pain. I was suffering. And I thought to myself, if this is how I am now, imagine what I'm going to be like when I'm 60. And that kind of kicked me in the ass. I had started doing bookkeeping for a really incredible personal trainer. I hadn't seen like his results or anything, but there was just something about him that I felt he aligned with me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to him about doing his bookkeeping and doing trades. And so I spoke to him and he was all in. He was like, yeah, let's do this then. And so him and I started working together. And within 8 weeks of working with him, I was no longer in pain. I no longer had migraines. I literally have not had a migraine since working with him. I've had a couple of headaches, but I have not had a single migraine. So within that, I said, one, I was noticing that smoking marijuana, I wasn't even getting anything out of it, nothing at all. I wasn't getting the high. I wasn't getting endorphins. I literally was going out smoking. And then I'd talk to you and you'd be like, I'm really concerned about this cough you have. And so I was like, even if it's just for the month of September, I'm going to not smoke pot at all. I'm just going to start with the month. I'm going to go 30 days and I'm just going to clean out. So, you know, when I do smoke pot, I get the high I'm looking for off of it. And when I started, I was super anxious about it. But I also was like, I'm going to track this journey because this takes me back to the place that all of my clients are. The anxiety of what it looks like to stop my addiction, all of the things. So then I stopped and it was like, no, I didn't use one of my treatments because I wanted to experience the struggle. Well, there wasn't really a struggle. And then after 30 days, like my friends and family who smoke marijuana with me were like, oh, it's been 30 days. Are you going to start? And I was like, actually, no. And like all of them were like, wait, what? Like you said, it was only 30 days. And I was like, I know what I said, but I'm just feeling so good about this that I'm going to keep going. If I feel like smoking it, I'll smoke it. But right now, all I want to do is not smoke it. And I want to see where I end up. I feel like I've been more motivated, just things. And so then I stuck to this not smoking pot. And now it's been almost a year because it's almost the end of July. So it's been 11 months. There's the occasional, I'm going to smoke a doobie or I'm going to whatever that, yeah, for sure. However, I also see how that can be a slippery slope for me. So I'm very, very, very conscious about the way that marijuana plays a role in my life at all. But by not smoking it and then becoming very, very consistent. So it started with that 365-day live challenge. I made it, I want to say 283 days, I think is what it was, that I made every single day I showed up, regardless. And then one night I had a headache and completely forgot and out the window. At that time, my coach was like, I'm kind of glad that it happened because I've been wanting to tell you not to bother, but you've been on a streak. So I'm going to encourage you now that it's off, not to start again and to start doing things differently. And I was like, okay. So I stopped that. But because I had been so consistent and disciplined, I taught myself so much. I also showed myself that I mattered to myself without even meaning to. So suddenly all these other things really started to come into alignment. During that time, we did a podcast recording about douchebags, about what I'm attracting into my life, what I want to attract into my life. You said, I want you to write a list of what that looks like. So I wrote the list and then we're having a conversation and you're like, okay, now go become that person. And I was like, oh, all right. So I literally spent my time focusing on becoming the person that I wanted to attract into my life. And literally all of the things just, it started with here and then it was this and then it was this and then it was this. And even you'll say like my growth has been exponential. It's been like this big, massive upturn, not my normal, you know, like this, like slowly coming, like it has been massive. And with that growth, with that alignment has come growth. With me listening to my body when it says no, listening to my body when it says yes, doing the things that I say I'm going to do and sticking to the disciplined consistency, my entire life has changed. I have started, my coach has this amazing like reality creation thing. If you guys want to try it, it's another level, but be prepared because you're going to get what you ask for. So be fucking careful. And it's telling yourself what you want. So mine, and you guys know I don't talk a lot about money, but my reality creation right now is I allow myself to make $100,000 a month with ease. And my coach said, "What did you just hear?" And immediately it was like, "You've never done it before." And he said, respond to that with the same statement. So I responded to that with, I allow myself to make $100,000 a month with ease. And then something else came up and it was like, well, who the fuck do you think you are? And I was like, I allow myself to make $100,000 a month with ease. And I did this to all of the responses that my ego or whatever it was coming up with, because I've never done this before. So it gives me all the reasons I can't do it. But I just kept responding to it with the same statement. After, I'm going to say 4 or 5 days, the response all of a sudden became fine. And I was like, wait, what? Where's the, you can't do it though? And then now I'm 2 weeks into it. And when I do it, it's like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Okay, I'm on board and things like that. And then because I'm so in alignment, all these other things are like falling into place. I'm getting contacted about how I can grow my business without me necessarily doing the things. Then I'm talking to my coach. We're on a one-on-one call and I'm telling him about how this thing came into my life and how I need to discuss it. And so we talked about it. What does it look like, Meridee? And he's like, I think you need to go here. And I was like, I feel more comfortable here. And he was like, well, I don't want you there. So let's talk about in between somewhere. And then he says, okay, I see you showing up. I see you doing all the things that we talk about doing. So because of that, I'm going to put you in contact with someone that could change your life. And then he's like, but I have to have a conversation with them first. So he has a conversation with them. The next thing I know, I'm getting a text message from my coach with her number for me to contact this lady. And this whole thing could change my life. Being in alignment has changed my fucking life. I'm 43 years old. I turn 44 next year. There's a lot of times I'm like, I wish I knew this then. But then I go back to like Morgan Freeman wasn't even discovered till he was in his 50s. There's so many stories about people who don't start even getting their shit together until their 40s. I am exactly where I need to be with all the lessons I've needed to learn up until this point for all of the right things to be coming into my life, because I became the person I wanted. And now the person that I'm seeing is, he checks every single box. Every single box. Some of the boxes I literally am like, check, check, because he's so exactly what I want. Being in alignment with yourself literally changes your fucking life, and you just need to commit to the discipline that it requires for you to do so.
Which is doing the uncomfortable things. Because I also think it's really beautiful to be witnessing, honestly, since we started the accountability of the podcast, in which it just like, it's shifted so many things. First and foremost, it keeps us in contact every week.
Yep.
Right? We catch up, we talk about things, and it's not like, another thing I have to like, and we overschedule so that we can talk about like whatever needs to be talked about at that time.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, you have been open to doing the work. So you have been on this journey of finding a partner. And who knows what that looks like now? We never really get to decide, but what we have right now is like a pretty cool person. And the only reason he's here is because you went through the discomfort of the douchebags, of like recognizing the stories and like leaning into it. Because how fucking uncomfortable was that? And then how uncomfortable was it to like let go of that? Because we were talking, right, in Mexico of like, why aren't you giving a nice guy a chance? And it's like, well, what's a nice guy? And I mean, we know I'm pro Jamie, always have been. I'm like, duh, what the fuck? He's been in your face this whole fucking time. What do you mean? This is a nice guy that still checks all the fucking boxes. He's got a good body. He's like taking care, like he still checks all the boxes, and he's not a douchebag. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it's been beautiful to also witness you go through the discomfort of saying yes to your coach. That wasn't easy. I mean, we're all watching you, and then for like 3 weeks after, you got like a broken rib or like whatever the hell's going on with you.
Yeah.
Because it was like look back now. What would you tell yourself? What the fuck did it take you so long to decide yes for? What did you need a day for? Just fucking pay it, do it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
It's been beautiful to witness like the discomfort that comes with being out of alignment. And also I just was looking at my notes and it said, what's the difference? I'm sure I can't find it, but like, what's the difference between Clark Kent and Superman, between what's his fucking Batman and Peter Parker and Spider-Man? Nothing. They're the same person.
Put on.
The costume, exactly. That's what it is. So what's the difference between, Meridee a year ago and Meridee now?
The
discomfort.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like that discomfort has made my life difficult or rough or miserable, or I wake up every day dreading anything. In fact, knowing where I'm headed has kept me going. And I think I've maybe woken up 3 times in the last year with like fuck. Let's say 5 times. And the reason I say that is because I got my period. Because right before I'm getting it, I get a little sensitive. But I'm also very aware of that. So if I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'll check my calendar to see where I'm at 100% of the time that I'm sad, it's because I'm there. And it's because of the attitude I've taken towards this entire journey as well. That this challenge, that this difficulty, that all the things that I'm experiencing right now are in fact heading to where I want to be. So if I need to be uncomfortable and in discomfort, that's okay. And I literally have spent the last year, 11 months, in discomfort and yet okay with it. In fact, enjoying it. And the cool part about it is it's the same as with like for example, let's go fitness wise for right now. The past 2 weeks, I'm on a cut, which means I'm on lower calories and supposed to be shedding some fat, which means I'm not supposed to be building muscle. And I'm not supposed to be lifting, supposed to in parentheses, because supposed to, right? Not supposed to be lifting heavier than normal. And in fact, there's days where I go to do my workout and I am exhausted. I just don't have it in me. I do it anyways. Maybe I do it lighter than the last time. But in the last 2 weeks, I have hit 12 personal bests. 2 days, I hit 5 personal bests each time. And one day I hit 2 personal bests. I've hit 12 personal bests. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling pretty strong. I say pretty strong because, like I said, there's moments where I feel weak as shit. But that's part of being on a cut as well. And so, and also when I say a cut, like all he's done is he wants me on a little less fat and a lot less carbs, but he's letting me eat as much fruit as I want. So it's not like it's really that big of a deal. And I'm someone who can be eating less food and be more comfortable than someone who eats the more food. So when I'm eating 2,100 calories, it's not the outside that's bothering me. It's that I'm uncomfortable with a full stomach, like really uncomfortable with a full stomach. And literally before you're even hungry again, you have to eat again. And that for me is more discomfort. So my coach even had me in discomfort in building. And now I'm in a place where I'm far more comfortable with not eating as much because now I'm at a normal, what I would consider a normal amount of food for me. So within that, I'm sitting in all sorts of discomfort because I'm sitting in emotional discomfort. I'm sitting in like, and even in this blissful discomfort, because it's blissful, but also there's this massive fear. My heart's going to get broken. However, I also remind everyone I have tattooed on my forearm, love as though you've never been hurt. And I have that as my constant reminder that I don't want to love only to the capacity of someone being able to hurt me. I want to love as deeply as possible because every shit pile I've been through, I've come out stronger the other side. So whatever this looks like for me, it's my journey and I'm supposed to be on it. So I'm going to love as deeply as I fucking can in this. And I'm excited to do so. So this alignment for me has brought more than I could have ever expected. And I had no idea where it was going to lead me or that I would become the person that I've become doing the things that I've been doing. I'm way past where I had planned to be. And the cool part is Tony Robbins always says we under or overestimate what we can do in a year and us underestimate what we can do in 10.
Yeah.
If I can stay on the path that I'm on right now, look the fuck out, world, because here I come.
So when we look at what we're talking about, which is finding our way back to alignment, which I also like to call flow. Like I've been in a state of flow. I feel like you are currently in a state of flow. It's a place that we can become attached to because we're not always in flow. Yet when we're in alignment, that's the opportunity to stay in the state of flow because you're exactly where, you know, like cosmically where you want to be. And that frequency is a high frequency, you know, like high vibe and what comes back from that. So how can we learn to be in alignment? Well, definitely start to learn the language of your body, right? Start to listen. But it also involves like what's coming out your mouth, right? I've used it as an example for quite some time. And I think it was either in the last podcast or the one before. You said specifically, nothing easy is ever worth it. And I was just like, no, I don't want that anymore because that's been such a belief for me that I work so hard that I fucking burn myself out because nothing easy is ever worth it. But you know, if tomorrow someone just fucking found me on Instagram and was like, I'd like to hire you for $300,000 and we're going to pay all your expensive and you're going to be taken care of and fed and all this shit. Like, would I say no because nothing that easy is ever worth it? Fuck that. No, like it is. Yeah. So also start to become aware of your language and what's coming out of your mouth because you are in alignment with what you believe and what you say 100% of the time. Right? So if you're saying, I was going to say stupid, but that's harsh and judgmental. But if you're saying sarcastic things like I'm not good at journaling even. I mean, how can I even argue? It's true. You're not.
Because you said it.
Weren't born walking. So you had to learn how to do that. Why the fuck can't you learn to do other things so that you then can claim that you're good at it? The reality is you're not prioritizing learning how to journal good. Like be in alignment with your words and then you're owning everything, which means that now you have an option. It's either to prioritize time to be good at journaling or be okay with like not. But what I hear is people walking around just like, oh, I can't do that. Like you can't or you won't. Because the reality is that there's very few things you can't do. Even
every time I talk to my coach, I'll be like, and not every time, but well, every time he'll be like, is that just a story you're telling yourself? But the other day we were talking and he's like, and I was like, well, you know, this time of year gets quiet. And he's like, is that just a story you're telling yourself? And I was like,
yeah.
Like, I don't even have a response because yeah, you're absolutely fucking right. It is. And he's like, you can't tell me that people don't want to get clean in August just because. And I was like, wow. So and his big thing these days is your word is law.
Yeah.
So what are you fucking saying?
Yes.
And I am telling you, even if it's only 3 times a day, I allow myself to make $100,000 a month with ease. I am going to allow myself that because not only do I deserve it, but so do the people I'm going to fucking help.
Right.
And that's the part for me.
The de-storying.
Yes.
Like becoming aware.
Everything we learned.
Yes. That's it. So then your thoughts are just as accountable as your word. Right? So what are you thinking all the time? And that's like not being on top of it. Even the fact that one is right-handed is a story. Just because you've repeatedly wrote or written with your right hand your entire life doesn't mean that you're necessarily right-handed. You can learn to write left. Lots of left-handed people before like 1970 or whatever were forced to be right-handed. Funny enough, they're right-handed, but they'll tell you that they're left-handed, but they can only write with their right hands because that's what they were forced to do within school. So how do you change a whole, like
by practicing?
Yes.
By practicing. Right. And that's how I started my journey in 2005 after watching The Secret. It literally challenges you to replace every negative thought with a positive one. And I did that. And it literally took me a year to get to 50% positive, 50% negative. And I remember after that, it just snowballed. It was so easy after that because I had conditioned myself at that point. But it took me a year. A year. And it seems like such a long time. And yet I'm 11 months into something that it doesn't seem like it's been a year. Okay. So if I want to learn how to write left-handed, I need to commit to practicing left-handed for a year at least. So I have practiced for 43 years how to write with my right hand, which is why I'm good at writing with my right hand. But practice is how you become good at anything else.
Right.
And that's going to apply to all of these things. I have come up with, and I have worked with everybody that I'm working with right now they have to come up to me with, what are your 3 to 5 non-negotiables for the day? Period. That means every single day you have 3 to 5 things that you want to do. So yesterday I was working with one of my alcoholic clients, and she was like, well, I love to garden. And I was like, it's not the things you love. And she was like, what? And I was like, also, gardening is going to go away as soon as fall comes. So no, what are 3 to 5 things that you're going to do every single day, no matter how difficult it gets? Do you work out? She's like, no. I'm like, so steps. She's like, ugh. I'm like, yeah. See how you feel about that? That's why you're going to do it.
Right.
So you're going to, even if it's, say it comes to winter and it's snowing outside or it's -20, you're going to commit to going up and down your stairs for a certain number of minutes because it's a commitment that you've made to yourself, which is why it's called a non-negotiable. So what are your non-negotiables? So you guys, my non-negotiables, minimum of 30 minutes worth of movement a day. It doesn't matter if that's going to the gym. It doesn't matter if it's walking. It doesn't matter if it's going up and down my stairs. I have to do 30 minutes of movement every single day. That keeps me from beating people up. So movement, journaling every day. My protein shake is a non-negotiable for me because it's something I struggle with. I have to tell you, it's like a hard one for me. So it's a non-negotiable for me. For me, another one is, did I talk to 5 people about laser quit? So because of the journey I'm on right now, my coach has me sending letters to doctors. So instead of there being 5, I'm actually committed to doing 50 labels a day because we're sending them actual letters. So I'm writing 50 labels a day, which, of course, being me, is actually closer to 100 labels a day because my commitment to myself is actually only 250 for the week. So if I do 4 at 100, I don't have to do anymore. So that's another non-negotiable. Did I read 10 pages? Now that 10 pages is typically like a self-improvement, or a wellness or something like that book. Like right now I'm reading Read People Like a Book. But also occasionally, now when I came to your place in June, I'm going to say it's been about 2.5 years since I have read a novel. And I laid in your pool and I read a novel and it was amazing. And I loved the book and I enjoyed myself. So during the summer, I'm giving myself, it's over there. It's such a good book. And I'm on the process of reading the second book in that series. I'm going to let myself finish that one while I'm also reading this other one. And then I'll probably take a break, read the rest of the book, Read People Like a Book. And then I might go into, because I'm coming back to Costa Rica, I may read the third book in the series, which is the final book. And then I can go from there back into my wellness books. But 10 minutes or 10 pages of reading. Did I contact 5 people today? Which, like I said, has to have an alignment for me in a different way. Did I take my protein shake? Did I move? And did I journal? So there's a minimum of 5. Also, another one is, did I post on my story on Instagram? And that's an algorithm thing with my coach as well. But I have these certain things that are non-negotiables for me. They must be done every day or every week, looking at the total. So for you, what can you guys do that are 3 to 5 non-negotiables? And no, not things you love to do, things that you don't necessarily want to do. And that, yeah, you even like Lynn, ice bathing yesterday. We talked about this. It's not comfortable and it's something you don't want to do, which is why it needs to be a non-negotiable. For you, it could be, say, 15 minutes of ice baths. Now, how do I break that 15 minutes up? Do I do 5 3-minute ice baths? Do I do 3 5-minute ice baths? How do I get my accumulative total that I have decided is my week? What are the things that are going to keep you? And the reason I do these is because they show me in the long run that I love me without having to say the word I love me to me. That being said, I also have it tattooed on both my collarbones. One says I love you to you, and one says I love you to me. And the reason for that is because I need to remind myself that I love me. But by being disciplined and consistent, I've shown myself, my inner self, my subconscious, that I do love me and that I am important. I feel like that's like mic drop.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
So you guys, thank you for joining us. I hope you'll take some of these tools and put them into your own life because they will change your life.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us on this spirited journey today.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of self-improvement with us. Two sisters who found their own unique paths.
Remember, life is a tapestry of experiences, and it's how we embrace them that makes all the difference.
So whether you're on your yoga mat, exploring mindfulness, or simply navigating life's twists and turns, always keep that spirit and sass alive.
We are Colynn and Meridee Hlokoff, and we're here to remind you that happiness and abundance are within reach.
Stay connected with us on social media and keep those questions and stories coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, beautiful souls, keep doing the work, keep sharing your experiences, and keep living a life that's authentically you.
And never forget to add a little extra sass to your day.
Spirit and sass, always.